40 seconds for 2 logos. Not quite Disney Pixar, but still the Justin Gatlin of 2 logo endurance. Or would this be the Usain Bolt? I think you know what we're saying, maybe. The Fast and the Furious in slow motion. Movie puts star's name and title in the same font size, momentarily making me forget which of them has a bigger ego. Musical cues suggest a skyline much more dramatic than what the movie actually shows us. Yay, we're in Pittsburgh. You know how we know this is a bad guy? He doesn't give a f*** about caution cones. God damn it, Christopher McQuarrie, you make movies hard to sin sometimes. This shot is awesome. In the opening of this movie, nearly 8 minutes without a single word spoken. And even better, no narration. That super loud rifle shot was not heard by anyone except the viewer. This guy plays life like I play GTA 5. In unrelated news, this asshole has 5 stars already, no? Oh, but if it weren't for the twisted cones of men, there would have been no obvious clue that he was even here. They're going to analyze the quarter the killer used for the meter, but isn't this a parking garage? Don't you get a ticket and either pay a machine or the teller for the privilege? Movie is going to not show the face of the guy they just arrested, probably because they got the wrong guy and are wasting our time with the reveal.
Who the hell is Jack Reacher?
Roll credits.
Silver Star, Bronze Star, Legion of Merit.
Of course, after that brilliant opening, now we come to the part where the investigators read the back of Jack Reacher's baseball card, a long exposition on how badass he is before we actually get to see him throw one punch.
Excuse me, sir. There's a Jack Reacher here to see you.
Tell him I'll be about 5 minutes while I clean this. Oh, come on in, I guess.
Why was he in protective custody?
That was an oversight.
Or a writer's trick to keep the suspense going. We're looking into it.
I know there's a bus station 3 miles away and I can walk there in 24 minutes.
You mean you can walk 7 or 8 miles per hour? I don't doubt your badassery or anything, even though I think you're fudging the numbers. But even if you could walk that fast to a bus station, why would you?
And sticking it to your father because...
No, not my father. The office of the district attorney.
Because the office of district attorney never bought you a pony.
That's racist or something. I don't know any other kind of ist, so we'll go with that.
Imagine that feeling. Days, weeks, years. Imagine that feeling times 200,000 plus 50,000 more.
Anything past 150 times is beyond my grasp. I'm going to assume that feeling is bad.
Covered his tracks well, just like sane people do. Almost got away with it too, but I caught him.
This was either the hardest investigation ever and Jack Reacher caught him with almost no evidence, or it was the easiest, because there were only a few people in the area who could do the shooting and use the bullets he did. Never mind. I'm sure the investigation was mad difficult. Carry on.
I'll do it. On one condition.
Movie wasted time trying to make us think that Jack Reacher, the title character, wasn't going to do this. If one of your loved ones got killed in a horrible mass shooting, and the defendant's lawyer wanted to come chat you up about what they were like when they were alive, would you ever do this? Wouldn't you think there's an angle being explored by the defense? And if, as a defendant's lawyer, you were allowed in, wouldn't you be worried about what might happen? Richard Jenkins just happens to be in the area to be a jump-scare dick.
How do you know that? How did you find me?
I'm the district attorney. It's my business to know.
Oh.
You never took any notes.
Oh, I don't need to.
Jack Reacher is just like that Olive Garden waiter who refuses to take notes and insists he's a good enough waiter to memorize it all. But then, like clockwork, I end up with the fucking chicken con broccoli that I did not order. Also, casting the evil corporate asshole who caused the ape virus in Rise of the Planet of the Apes as the evil corporate asshole in this movie? A little too on the nose. Is he typecast already?
He's about to fire 6 shots into a crowd of strangers, and he's worried about the meter maid?
Okay, first of all, Jack Reacher would be excellent at CinemaSins. Second of all, yo, Jack, I got this. I even had this a few minutes ago before you did. Jump around.
What's this?
He called me a whore.
So this is a setup. Reacher correctly figures out that hot young women just don't approach 50-year-old dudes in a bar, even if they look like Tom Cruise. But why does this need to be staged in such a way to look like a bar fight? Like someone's going to ask questions if he shows up dead? You know who I bet's behind this? That evil construction company that no one suspects is also behind the mass shooting. Gotta love this dude is about to get in a street fight and has to practice his move beforehand.
Remember, you wanted this.
I mean, ultimately, this scene is just so the movie can have Jack beat some ass. People were getting fidgety. They needed a fight scene in the worst way, which is to say an unnecessarily staged bar fight against incredibly outmatched opponents who somehow didn't know who they were dealing with.
And the cops were rolling before the fight even started.
That's another thing. If you want your hired gang to beat down Jack Reacher or kill him or whatever, why would you want the cops to show up? So you can tip off Jack this was no random fight?
Chrissy Ferrier was 22.
Helen tells all the stories of the victims, as related by their families. But didn't she tell the drunk guy with the gun that she was able to talk only to the few who would speak to her? She's got stories for all the victims here.
She told the clerk she didn't want the purchase showing up on her credit card.
She also told the clerk about how stupid her husband is, that he would notice a credit card charge, but not a massive cash withdrawal from an ATM. Both she and the clerk had a good laugh about how stupid her husband, and definitely not her, was.
She was on her way to secure a loan that day.
We know that this mass killing was a ruse to cover up the fact that they were killing this woman. But how are they able to hire an assassin in the amount of time they had to not only kill her, but frame some other dude for it? And remember, this isn't routine for her. This is just a one-time visit to the bank. I feel like assassins like to victimize routines.
So she could keep the business she'd always hated. Darren Sawyer was an investment broker and
40 minutes in, and this movie decides to turn into the opening of Magnolia. I mean, Jesus.
You too.
you don't really think I'm gonna...
Jack Reacher gets super up close and personal, just so he can give Helen his keys and tell her to get the f*** out of there. Hey, after you kill those people, meet us at this super unique and obvious spot with all the gigantic columns and the super creepy vibe. Cool? Cool. Also, these bad guy meetups in the middle of, I mean, what the f*** is this place, are definitely cinematically interesting, but don't these guys ever just meet in a hotel or something?
Yeah, I understand. I couldn't reach you. Well, that's how this works.
I mean, this guy apparently can't even be reached in a pinch, but they still set up a perfect assassination attempt at a location the victim was only going to appear one time in her life.
We make it messy now so it won't get messy later.
I get the sense this is what Werner Herzog tells all his actors before he directs a movie. Ah, Nosferatu! This asshole gives new meaning to Shakespeare's I bite my thumb at thee line.
Coffee. You take it black, right?
He does take it black, but no one outside the church is supposed to know that.
No, she just said the auto parts store.
Jack Reacher plays the pronoun game so that Helen has to ask who the hell she is.
I didn't say an auto parts store. Which one stands out in your mind as the auto parts store?
Whatever you come up with is bullshit because this is Pittsburgh, not Mayberry. Default auto parts? Seriously? Somehow an idiocracy level joke sneaks into a wannabe legit action film. Har har, my sides hurt. Can we go back to the action now? Hey, is that Dylan Cussman, the actor who played Cameron in Dead Poets Society? Because I hate that guy. I can't distinguish the actor from the character anymore. Ah! Well, what do you know? Sandy not only works here, but she's currently on a shift, and nobody seems to stop at the auto parts store. Amazing the luck this asshole has. Wait, how did this asshole know to be here? Did Dylan Cussman call this guy? Because I'm going to beat his ass. You've just signed your expulsion papers, Nwanda. This bad guy, who is part of the smart bad guy team, somehow doesn't know how to inconspicuously follow somebody. Jack Reacher's been smarter than everyone in every single scene in this movie, up until this one moment where he backs out of a room without looking. I've got to say, the ineptitude of these guys is hilarious. I'd remove a sin, but I'm too busy laughing. Jack Reacher Jason Bourne's his way out of a tight spot. Why didn't they just send a guy with a gun in the first place?
And what is that on your head?
What is one on his head? I don't see shit.
You sure that car was following you all day?
As soon as you picked me up, why?
But we only started seeing the car when he was at the auto parts store, and there wasn't anyone following him before that, unless you're saying movies sometimes don't show you things because of time or creative choices or whatever. Pfft, creative choices.
It's registered to a company called Liebendauer Enterprises.
Oh, come on. You mean these bad guys somehow give their hired goons company cars to follow people around? Do you even villain?
Someone needed O-Line Archer's construction business, and O-Line wouldn't let it go.
This movie's antagonist is so real estate focused, he might as well be Lex Luthor. If you're a professional killer, kidnapper, villainous asshole guy, why bother with the whole, hey, let's grab a drink sometime, flirty nonsense? And not only that, it's in an area where people can easily see you. I mean, I know it looks like Pittsburgh has a population of 3, but any asshole could be watching right now. Jai Courtney decides to have this girl assaulted and killed here in her own apartment complex. And of course, no one sees them.
Why are you smart?
Dude, did you see Gone Girl?
Someone who could kill that girl with one punch.
Oh, you with the guy in 1109.
He looks like Tom Cruise, and he's 5'7", and you can just see it in such a stature that he could do something like that. Jeez, these guys set up an elaborate mass shooting to kill somebody for their construction business, but it's amateur hour when Jack Reacher enters the picture. Even though Detective Emerson knows who Jack Reacher is, a guy with no criminal record and lives like a ghost, he thinks that he'd be the type to punch a woman to death and leave the body by a dumpster. He's driving opposite oncoming traffic, sure, but he's benefiting from the fact that none of the oncoming cars are moving. I actually super love this scene. Dude gives Jack his hat so he can hide from the police, but you know there's some asshole in this group who would have sold him out. Even in the midst of this total cop shutdown of this road, this city bus is giving zero fucks about it, continuing to run its route, which fortunately allows our hero to escape. One of the top 20 peripherally blind movie characters, ever. I mean, do not even think about looking at that bus or its riders. In fact, concentrate real hard on not looking at that bus. Hey, thanks for distrusting cops enough to take my side, allowing me to get away, even though for all you know, I'm a murdering rapist.
You got some fine shooters here.
Jack once again finds a store where nobody shops, and this time, the asshole gets to meet Robert Duvall. What a lucky f***er. We saw all sorts of people at this gun range when Jack got here, but nobody's in the shop, and nobody's shooting. I mean, what do people do at this shooting range? Read newspapers and drink coffee in the secret Bison Lodge?
You're a little rusty, Mr. Reacher. I saw a man by that name shoot for the Wimbledon Cup, 10 years ago.
This guy is such a shooting enthusiast, he remembers somebody who shot competitively 10 years ago.
You know, one of these nuts is likely to kill you. They find that camera there.
These guys somehow framed James Barr for the murder, but didn't check to see if there were any cameras in this place. This is the criminal outfit that knew exactly when that construction company lady was going to visit the bank one day. They missed this?
There.
And that guy even looks at the camera like he knows it's there, or so that Jack can easily identify him. I'm giving out wings! Also, let's think about this for a second. They knew they needed to frame this guy for the mass shooting they were about to pull off. But how long did it take to befriend this guy and shoot enough targets with his name on it and set up the killings? The construction company lady had no intention of keeping the business until the day she was about to sell it off, so it's not like these guys were worried about her from the beginning. Then she went to get a loan to keep the business, but are they saying that took months?
Moved 12 times in 15 years. Atlanta, Albuquerque, Austin.
And 3 of those 5 moves were to cities that start with A, almost as though his adventure was born out of an alphabetized list of U.S. cities. You're telling me that Helen never once saw anybody on her trip to the elevator, and nobody close when she got on the elevator, but this guy can stealthily run to catch it just in time without her seeing or hearing him? If this movie's telling us that he's the bad guy, then why the whole production with him getting pissed off like a protective father when he thought Jack had killed Stacy? That is prestige level of commitment to the bit. Also, if this guy is one of the men behind all this, this is a guy who had all the power to kill Jack whenever he wanted, especially when he was in custody. That's another thing. I'm sitting here looking at this scene, wondering why Emerson stuck his neck out for a kidnapping. Since he had Jai Courtney and his partner in the building, why not just let them stun gun her and stay out of it? I know the plan was to kidnap her, so Jack would try and save her, and they killed him and her, but there's no reason Emerson needed to take the risk, other than to show the audience he's a surprise bad guy. This bad guy is kneeling before his gun all religious-like, because this bad guy is played by Jai Courtney, and he can't think of any other creepy things for his character to do right now, so they just filmed him doing this.
This was a bad idea.
That doesn't excuse you following through on it, though. Oh yeah, time to underestimate this guy. All these dudes and guns, so few attempts at the tires. Thank God this climax took place in a quarry, am I right? Instead of calling the main office and telling everyone the situation and seeing what Jack and Cash are going to do next, Charles leaves the area so that Jack can come up with yet another surprise attack. And then it starts to rain because of course it does. Suck it! Suck it. Throw away your guns for bare-knuckle fisting cliche. I mean fist fight. Fist fight, guys. Damn it. How did Jack Reacher win the day? By jump shooting at a criminal 95% hidden behind a hot hostage, and hitting his target while also avoiding being hit by his target's bullets. Basically Jack Reacher's Ethan Hunt plus Jason Bourne, which might have been a better title for this movie, come to think of it. There really is no good reason this movie is 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
You think you're gonna walk?
You are a homeless drifter wanted for murder. Meanwhile, I am an old man in the wrong place at the wrong time.
The Zek, who has been through a lot of shit in his life and has probably learned a thing or two, decides to make Jack aware of the situation, thereby throwing away his one trump card.
This conversation is protected by attorney-client privilege.
Okay, so while that's true and everything, and she's recording this conversation, why is her dad here? Yeah, I understand he probably looked into all the documents she gave him and he doesn't think Barr did the shooting anymore, but him being here is completely against attorney-client privilege, right?
You want answers!
I want the truth!
Born Jack, not John, no middle name.
Hit that director in the face. Really f***ing hard.
Hey, Emerson. What sets off the metal detectors first? The lead in your ass or the in your brains?
Who are you, mister?
I'm Batman. That was an oversight.
We're an oversight committee.
Right.
Want to test your marriage for weak spots? Add 1 recession, subtract 2 jobs.
There you are. Keep going. Why'd you stop?
We ordered up a window for you, renovated the nave, a memorial to Polish police and firefighters.
See that helicopter? See it right there? Right in front of us there. Yeah. I think it's been following me all morning. Get the f*** out of here. What are you, nuts? I'm telling you.
Nope, they're not. They're dead. They've been taxidermized by Chuck Testa.
Don't tase me, bro!